so many things now with like stealing money from people on the internet for like a product that's not worth it.
Yeah.
Like a Patreon, like they have subscriptions now for everything. I mean, have you ever thought of like, I mean, some people can maybe, you know.
I was just thinking about this the other day. Most Patreons are what, like $7 a month? Mm-hmm. That's such a nice thing to do, is to give someone you're supporting just you have an extra bill now. Every month you pay them $7, but it's not like Spectrum. It's like your friend.
Steve.
Yeah.
Steve is giving you, and I mean, that's my thing. It's like, is it ever really, it's not about what they're giving you. I think it's more your half of it, you're supporting the person than freaking, you know what I'm saying? It's not the product.
It's just annoying because I feel like a one-time, like, hey, here's $15 to follow your dreams is a nice thing to do. But then, like, I'm on the hook now every month to first, like, fulfill your dreams.
It's a bill.
It's that's what I'm saying.
You're a utility. Someone becomes a utility.
You're like a second Netflix for the guy.
That's insane to think about.
It's such a nice thing to do.
I mean, I would do it for. I mean, if you put something out once a month, I think you're being good. Your artwork is free. So.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
Guys, welcome back to a new episode of the Matty Chymbor podcast. This is an exciting time because, again, like I said last episode, it's not just me anymore. I have decided to not duplicate myself. I decided to just reproduce and have guests on the episode, and you know,
it's a good move.
It's a good move. I think people, you know, as much as we want to feel important out here, I think. The people they like interactions. We've seen crowd work clips. They like seeing people talk.
Yeah. They like tension.
Exactly. There's tension with her. And I felt, I mean, even you're a good friend. Amir Kabiri, stand-up comic, ex-musician.
Ex-musician, yeah. I don't really play anymore.
First musician evolved to comic. I did some research. So I know a little.
If we're going that far back.
I'm just saying, so I don't think there'll be tension per se, but I mean, there might be where I think the conversation might run dry. I mean, I think I have 5 minutes of material, and the rest is going to be crowd work with you.
Great!
But
what do you got?
I mean, Amir's a great guest because you know he doesn't exactly embody most people out here in Los Angeles or in entertainment. I mean, you came from entertainment because you started with music, correct?
Yeah, I moved out here to become a guitarist on the late night with Conan O'Brien, which I failed at.
I like Amir too because I never know if he's lying. Everything you say sounds like it could be a lie, and then you do research and you realize, holy crap, that was all true.
Yeah. No, in 2011, I ended up becoming an intern, but did hang out with Jimmy Vivino, the guitarist on the Max Weinberg 7.
Really?
Yeah. We used to go to Crane's on Wednesday nights and watch him play blues.
Nice.
Yeah.
Even the way you say blues seems more musician than I. Yeah. So you came out here for music. I mean, I knew that was a thing. I didn't know that was strictly for like an actual job, but
no, not really. I mean, I didn't come out here for any purpose other than just to leave where I was.
Atlanta.
Yeah.
Get out of the South.
Fuck out of there.
But you know. And then years of music. How many years were you a musician for?
I mean, I started playing guitar at 12. I got pretty serious right away. We were like gigging, me and my friends at 14. And then studied jazz in school. And then pretty much broke my finger playing pickup basketball and just stopped. It was the most tragic ending to a passion ever.
That's like when, NFL players like blow an ACL.
Yeah, but not playing football.
It's flip-flop.
It's like biking on the boardwalk. It's like, fuck, there goes my career, you know?
Did you get like swatted? Was that like kind of embarrassing?
No. It was actually, I went for a steal.
A steal.
I went for a steal.
Not even the fun part. You're playing You're playing too good of defense on pickup basketball.
Pickup basketball defense ruined my musical career.
I mean, did you guys win? Like, was the game?
You know, I think we might have tied or something. It wasn't like an exciting day. I thought I jammed my finger, and then I went home, and it hurt so bad. I just didn't do anything about it, which if I had done something about it, maybe, you know.
I mean, one time, so I played baseball in college. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, I did.
And at the time, my girlfriend from back then, she came up to visit, and my hometown friend was there. I mean, dudes growing up, we act gay together. I mean, we say silly things. It's just how guys bond, oddly enough. I mean, even when I shut the door for the podcast, I go, this feels weird, like that I had to shut the door. But anyways,
And we're in here.
So anyways, she got drunk. She would have a tendency to overreact, and then me and my buddy just said an offhanded, like, silly homoerotic thing, like joking, like friends do.
Yeah.
And she started crying, and she's like, "Oh, you and your friend are gay together." Got in a huge fight. Long story short, I punched a wall, hurt my pinky, and I couldn't pitch.
Whoa.
So
wait, she triggered you like that? Your ex-girlfriend?
it was. I mean, she didn't go, "You two are gay." I say, "What the f?" Punch the wall. It wasn't like that quick. It was like a process.
Why do you think that bothered you so much?
It was the fight that happened later. She started the fight with that, and I was like, "What are you talking?" It was like funny.
Okay.
And then, our clear incompatibility just took its course.
Wow.
It's like a conveyor belt. I feel like fights are like something throwing something on a conveyor belt, and then once it's on there, it just has to run its course.
Oh yeah, you got to finish it.
So I couldn't pitch.
Damn, but that probably felt great to punch through the wall.
No, it didn't go through a wall.
Oh.
And if anything, I didn't even punch it correctly. I hit it with the side of my hand.
Oh god.
To the point where, look at the distance between these two fingers right here.
Oh,
and then yeah.
It's still fucked up a little.
Yeah, so
Wow.
is yours still effed up a little?
Yeah, it is.
Fucked
Yeah,
up?
it doesn't look at that. It has a crooked. I mean, I can still play. It's just,
We're two pinky injuries.
too pinky. That's
the name of this episode. Just pinky injuries.
that's like a weak man fact. I feel like, yeah, I got a pinky injury that changed the course of my life.
Damn. So the injury, basically you had a rehab period, which didn't allow you to do music. It was at the stem into comedy, or because based on some information, I'm curious. Did that get you looking in other areas?
Well, no, actually, when I was at Conan, we used to do this thing where every 6 months, the interns would put on a stand-up comedy show, and people would sign up and do the first set ever.
Really?
Because everybody was interested in doing comedy.
Yeah.
And so I did that, and Brent Morin was actually working on staff at the time too.
Really?
Yeah.
Connecticut
guy.
Yeah, Connecticut right here.
Yeah, good man. So we all did the show, and it was a small black box comedy room. And dude, I did my guitar song. You ever see my mailman?
Yeah. Love letter.
You did your research. Wow.
I've seen it before on YouTube.
Yeah. So I did that, and it went really well.
Really?
Yeah.
And you just were like, I can do this.
I was like, try this. I did a couple open mics. I did some musical comedy, and then just transitioned, went into stand-up comedy.
Wow. So the pinky injury, well, I guess that was not really, it was more of the work thing.
Yeah, I mean, it just, I was just probably moving away from it anyways.
Were you a funny kid growing up?
I think I was. Yeah, I was funny, but I wasn't trying to be. It was half actually funny and silly and goofy, and half people just being like, this kid is goofy, man.
Really?
Yeah, I was high a lot.
So they were it was a mixture of laughing at, sometimes with.
I'd say about 20% laughing at, 80% laughing with.
That's one thing I hate. I hate when I do something funny.
Which has not changed, by the way.
No, it's still very, I mean, when I was doing the research, it was just even looking you up was humorous to laugh at. There's more successful Amir Kabiris, you know that?
Really? Oh, the Israeli guy.
Yeah, he's
I think he went to prison.
Did he? I didn't want to start clicking links at work, but
I don't want to spread misinformation, but yeah, he comes up first, and I think he was in some corruption dealings.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I thought. Well, it's funny because before I knew there was another Amir Kabiri, I typed in Amir Kabiri in Google, and it auto-populated to net worth. I go, well, this isn't my friend.
What was that guy's net worth?
It didn't pop up, and I was like, I saw a couple sketchy links, and I was just like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
I mean, but again, not to spill your beans, but I mean, net worth could have been a good thing for you to come up, because I think, out of all my friends, we discuss financial ventures the most together.
Yeah, you literally are the only comedian that I can talk to who you actually kind of know what you're talking. You know what you're talking about.
I mean, I think we're two young investors. Amir has more seasoned lumps than I do. But I mean, regardless, I think I think you're further along than I am. I think I can just hold my own with some of the kind of, we can talk, but I think I'd be curious to know, I think your options knowledge and all that other stuff is way more evolved.
I get pretty deep into it, from a guy who wasn't a finance guy. Sometimes
that's what's crazy.
Yeah.
You're a real techie, finance guy. That's why I feel like music is like your side thing, but like your day to day, you're like techie finance, all like digital realm, like shit like that.
Yeah, exactly.
One thing I mean, and we don't have to say numbers, but I mean, the impressive thing, like you said, you get pretty deep into a lot of this shit.
Right.
But not only do you get deep in like with your finance, I mean, you've have a history of just completely tanking and like and I mean this guy right here, and I'll let him talk more about it, but I mean the fact that you can make good learning curves of poor investment. I don't want to say poor investments because we all can mess up, but I mean you were substantially in debt.
Yeah, I mean,
or currently.
I've done well this year.
Really?
Really well.
So you're up.
Yeah.
Do you ever have a friend who plays scratch tickets? He goes, "I won $30," and I'm like, "But what are you down?"
Yeah,
that's how I perceive that.
Yeah. Well, I've hit some major, some speed bumps along the way, as you know.
Yeah, I mean, what year was that where you took the biggest hit? So it's, I mean, from day one investing, I mean, what do we just throw a couple, however much money in that you're comfortable trading?
Right.
When did like from day one till like you really made your first big move that either went good or bad? Like, how was that?
Look, what do you mean? Like, how long?
Do you remember your biggest first investment? Like one where you're like,
oh yeah, my first 3 were absolute bombs.
Really?
Absolute bombs. And I should have learned after the first one, but I bombed again
really?
Like, twice. Yeah. I remember when I didn't have much money. One time I did an open mic.
Really?
And I tried to do a set about how I had lost $30,000 today, and everyone was like, "What are you talking about?"
They just don't. I mean, we're in a profession where, and it's not like we're bragging. I mean, it's just, but you meet people where, I mean, he's talking about losing 30 grand, and then you're sitting next to somebody who lives in the backseat of their car.
Yeah,
I mean, but they're fine with it. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that.
There's no judgment. It's just, in a way, what I was doing was more reckless than what they were doing. But
how did you learn lose 30 grand? Was it in options or just like it was a straight up investment?
That was an investment, and the company that I was investing in was a biotech, which is already risky and highly volatile, small cap. Yeah, and I think they had
high risk, high reward.
Oh yeah, so they had a drug that was in production. It had just, they were looking for an FDA approval, and they were trying to explode and get like acquired by one of the big, Pfizer's, and it didn't work out. And I remember I was at work. I had a day job at the time working, and I was in my boss's office, and I looked in my phone, and he's like trying to show me something on screen, and I was like, my heart just dropped.
How did you know? So he was trying to show you something. What were you looking at to see was your computer,
my phone?
Oh, you had a notification.
Yeah, and this was the longest meeting I've ever had too, by the way. It was like a one-on, and halfway through it, I saw what had happened, and I tried to just keep my head in the game and just stay professional and focused. And then like 30 minutes, and I was like, hey, just so you know, I just lost like 80% of my savings, my net worth.
You said this to your boss.
I said that to him.
What did he look?
He immediately just goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that."
Oh, he probably didn't care at all.
No, because he went right back to what he was showing me.
That's fucking hilarious.
I mean, I'm sure he was a little sympathetic. But
I've never lost my but that's the thing. You're very even keeled. Where that was your reaction. I would have walked out the door, or I would have panicked. See, that's another thing too.
Your pinky
punched
into
my wall, and then I would have been able to. I'd have to quit my typewriter job.
Yeah,
dude. That's the thing though. You're always going for the long high risk, high reward. Like I invested. Like my first investment was like Apple.
Right.
And it went down like 50 cents, and I sold it. That's how I approached That's how I approach kind of everything. I'm like,
wow.
That's where I think we're very different. Where I'm such a educated guess, and if anything, putting the word guess in there is kind of not correct. Whereas you're like, seat of your pants, just fucking go.
Yeah, I mean, for a while, and I don't want to get too graphic, but yeah, for a while. For a while,
Let's get the triple X story going.
For a while, when I first started day trading, remember we were talking about Robbie Gutierrez. It's not his actual name, but anyways, we were watching this guy on YouTube, and I was watching him, and I would trade oil. I would trade crude oil and natural gas every morning.
Really?
And then I would go to work and then do open mics. And so people like I had a very different life, like days, like
up at 6:30 because
I just had to follow the futures on crude oil and whatnot. And I would have insane amounts of adrenaline pumping early in the morning.
Really?
Yeah, man. Trading crude oil.
That should be like a Huberman Lab thing where you're like, he says get up and take cold showers. I'm like, why don't you get up and lose a quick 1,000 on crude oil?
Yeah, crude oil and nat gas.
Natty gas reports.
Dude, I was fucking... I would, it just gets you going.
I mean, you thought you were going to be rich.
I mean, I just thought I found a new career that I was like super jacked up on. And I would be trading, and I'd be making $200 or losing $200 a day. And it was exciting and it would be stressful. And does your mom watch this or anything?
No. I mean, no. God, no.
Oh, yeah. So I would basically be like totally Wolf of Wall Street. I'd be like trading crude oil and just jerking off to relax.
I remember you said that. That was one of the first conversations in finance where he goes, sometimes I'm just... if I'm having a bad day or like with stocks, I'm too stressed out, I'll jerk off to like reset. Which I mean, it's like, hey, if you're going to do it for any reason and God's going to judge us or whoever you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
do it over crude oil.
Do it over crude oil.
And I got to say, what a satisfying feeling is to be fucking jacked up on a Tuesday morning on crude oil.
Let's go. Now, are you jerking off because you did well or because you did poorly?
Both. I mean, have you seen that scene with Matthew McConaughey where he's like, you got to bust those numbers?
What was a better nut, though?
Honestly, here's the crazy thing is making a lot of money in a very short period of time feels exhilarating. It's one of the best feelings. Right. It's just insane. It's like skydiving. But losing a ton of money in a very short period of time also kind of feels good. I don't know why.
It feels good.
It's like it just feels like something massive just changed in my life.
I think that's the thing you like, just change whether good or bad. Yeah. That's not a good. I mean, because then on top of that, you're offsetting it by busting a fat nut. Getting back to like you're like two people, you're like Dr. Heckle and Mr. Hyde or whatever.
Yeah. Heckle. Dr. Hyde.
Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I'm just combining things.
Dr. Schmeckle.
Dr. Jerkoff and Mr. Loss. All right. That's crazy though. I mean, but so you were willing to just ditch it all if that was starting to go in the right direction.
Nah, I wasn't going to ever ditch anything. I just wanted to get decent. It's like a video game. I don't know what it is. Trading is kind of a game. You kind of learn the moves and then you see what other people are doing.
Because it doesn't feel real.
It doesn't really. I mean, it feels like, the stakes are really high, but it doesn't feel as high as it actually is.
But even in the big gains, until you actualize the gain or loss for that matter, I mean, we talk about it. You can get a bunch of money, but if you don't sell it, you're not like any instance of these wild adrenaline rush mornings. Like, would you sell and actually reap the benefits of that?
Sure, but there's also a lesson to be learned there too. A lot of people make a lot of money really quick, but they don't sell because they get greedy. They think it's going to continue going up, similar trajectory, and then it all comes back down and then further. So they end up losing what they thought they made.
Typical gambling.
Yeah. So that's just like seat of your pants day trading kind of stuff.
See, now with this, I want to kind of choreograph the story with the intro to finance, adrenaline jerk off mornings, followed by
we got to get off the jerk off thing.
Yeah, we got to move on. You hit a pretty big pit, which I think you're not to spill the beans on the story, but like then you hit like a pit of loss.
Oh yeah,
you went down. That's when we met. Not when we met, but when I think you said you were down at the time $60,000.
Yeah, those were the old days.
Those were the old days, but
and they got much worse after that. But yeah,
it went down. But then I as Amir knows, I call him this. He's the Wolf of Wall Street for breaking even.
Yeah,
which is he can be down.
I'm a comeback story,
dude.
Baby.
He's a morning comer. He's a comeback. He'll break your pinky. Call me gay.
Yeah,
but you were down. I mean, what were you down when you came back from that first, like, pretty crazy deficit?
I don't even remember the numbers, but I mean, I've taken massive hits before. I mean, for a guy, with my, I've told people who work in finance and Wall Street and stuff.
I would believe you though. That's the thing. Like, see how calm he is with all the talking. Like, you have financial advisor energy where I'd be like, if you sat me down and just started, if you pulled out like a nice leather folder, I would be like, I'll give this guy $100,000 right now.
Yeah.
I'd let him do whatever. Crude oil. If you just said, dude, I know crude oil. Yeah. Natural gas is my thing. It jacks me up. And I got to be honest, if I'm that jacked up and I make you $100,000, I'm jerking off and flipping it to another 50. I'd be like, let's
go. Take whatever you want. No, I don't know what it is. It is exciting stuff. The economy is exciting. When I went to New York this last trip, I went in December. Man, I stopped by the Federal Reserve and I was fucking jacked.
Really?
Up. Yeah, I saw the security guard at the bottom floor. I saw her Federal Reserve badge. I was like, you got to be kidding. Is Jay Powell up there?
Dude, they're all up there.
Yeah, I was like, you're kidding me.
There's some fucking big
I walked
wigs.
by comedy clubs and I didn't give a shit. I've seen the Cellar before, but when I saw the Fed Reserve and I saw Wall Street, I saw the New York Stock Exchange, I lost it.
You're high stakes.
I was like, I'm a trader.
That's why, see,
I'm here to ring the bell.
Yeah, dude, you want your own stock.
And when I try to talk about this stuff, I've tried to talk about this in shows back in the day. I think I did a show. I was like headlining Santa Barbara, and I did this, not to brag, but
I mean, it's a wealthy area. I mean, as you should be doing shows there.
And I did this show, and I just talked about like this because it's such a big part of my life.
Yeah, of course.
The set kind of just went sideways. It didn't go great. But then afterward, somebody came up and they were like, I liked how you were so open about your finances.
I like how you just gave us a glimpse into your retirement.
I was like, yeah, but was it good? Was it funny? They were like, it was interesting. I learned.
But you make people feel better. That's like, I hate to say it. I mean, what were you talking about in that set? Do you remember?
Probably just, probably that was probably during the crude oil days.
But were you talking about losses or gains or just
both? Yeah, coming back. I mean,
because people can. You're like most comics bitch about relationships. I mean, I bet there was a dude in that crowd that just made a terrible investment like a week earlier, and then you're just like, I fucking lose money. I gain it back, lose a little more, and he's like, thank God for this fucking kid.
This fucking loser.
That was that guy.
Yeah,
he came up. He's like, dude,
he was stoked.
That kid belongs at the Federal Reserve with a goddamn bell. I mean, that's
fucked up bigger.
You need to know about that stuff, though. I mean,
it's good. I mean, it's fun. I mean,
money's fun. I mean, I don't even like spending it, to be honest with you. I like the number side of things. But that's thing. It's interesting. Do you what fix do you get with money that you do or don't with comedy?
One, it's opportunities. I feel like there's massive opportunities, and all you have to do is just learn. Right. And I think when you do that, it's all accessible at your fingertips, and you learn so much about the economy, so much about the way the world works, supply and demand, capitalism. I mean, it's just incredibly interesting stuff. And when I talk to people in finance, and now at this point, I can hold my own, and I've talked to people in finance. They are so fucking. First of all, I love those traders. Like, I love that, but you don't find them as much nowadays. You find people who work, and they manage funds, or they work at a massive asset management company or something like that, and they are so boring, and they don't really even know that much about what I'm talking about.
Right.
When I go in and I tell them about stuff, first of all, I'm taking high risk stuff. I'm making riskier trades, and these guys are
learning. So risky.
Yeah, like stupidly
like guy
risky.
in the side of the road with a jacket saying, "I have a good deal." Risk.
Yeah, I remember I took my mom because I was like, "Mom, we got to get you investing." We went to Wells Fargo. We talked to an asset manager there. The guy was telling me about, he was talking about how you got to put your money with us because we allocate it, between the bonds and the stocks and equities and all that. And then he was talking about you can't just be trading off the new, because you never know. Like, you see what happened with McDonald's. He was telling me stuff I already knew, but also I'd already rejected before.
Right.
So I go, Mom, let's get up. This guy, I don't know what he's fucking talking about. Wells Fargo? Are you fucking kidding me? You pay your employees this much in salary, and this is the shit they're telling us? Get out of here.
He was too conservative, is what you're saying. Or he just didn't feel he
wasn't. This is my biggest issue with these people. They're not plugged in.
Right.
They run a business. they make a salary, and they want your business, and they want to take that commission.
Right.
They don't know what the fuck's going on. I know what the fuck's going on.
This guy gets it. He's in the trenches. Those guys are up in their penthouse taking the moms of the Amir K's money.
Yeah. What I love
the fact that you said this guy doesn't know what he's talking about,
I don't know what
and then your poor mom had to be like, "I guess I'll follow my son."
I just forced her to put her money with what I told her. But my favorite is during the pandemic. Did you ever watch Davey Day Trader? Portnoy?
You know what? The Barstool thing, I mean, I respect the guy. I saw a few clips online, but I didn't really watch it too much.
It was during the time when everybody was making money, early 2001.
Right.
2021. Sorry.
Oh, it was just chaos.
He was buying and selling cruise ships, and everybody was making money doing that.
Right.
And he thought he was a fucking genius. And he
That's the problem with that era too, by the way. But keep going. Sorry.
Oh, it's a horrible. Yeah, everyone's like, oh, GameStop, blah blah blah. Everyone made a few bucks. They thought they were so smart, and everybody lost it the next year.
Right.
But I remember when Davey Day Trader turned to the camera on Twitter and he goes, "Warren Buffett, I'm killing this guy. This guy he's old. He's out. He seems like a nice guy, but he's old. I'm the new guy." I was like,
it's because he bet on fucking Carnival Cruise or some shit.
And then he lost everything.
So hopefully your mom's money is doing pretty well with your recommendation.
Yeah, she ended up just kind of doing her own thing, but I try to sway.
Hey, mothers are going to be stubborn, but I mean, money aside though, that's one thing I think our common ground, I thought about, I was like, our circles overlap.
Yeah.
In the tech world, the arts world. I mean, I know we do stand up together, but
right.
Aside
you're artistic, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as are you. I think aside from your comedy ventures and your guitars and shit, you do the NFT stuff, which I think you're the first person I've ever met who actually makes NFTs.
I don't really make NFTs anymore.
Are you out the game? And that was the one thing I wanted to bring up because I was curious, your take on NFTs. I mean, originally I remember we were at a swingers and you had a pretty big deal on your plate potentially, and then
oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, some guy. I think I'm not to you'll explain it better, but I think it had to do with developing X amount of NFTs for this estranged investor.
Yeah.
And
he was like a kid,
some child. How come there's always some 18-year-old Mr. Beast type who's going to just give you money and do
smart Asian guy who just had.
But you still kind of do the things you put on your Instagram. If you guys check out his Instagram or his art Instagram, the kid art or something like that.
Yeah,
we'll put the thing right here. Is that technically still an NFT or is that just digital art?
No, that's just digital art. To be an NFT, I think you have to actually mint the art. You have to mint it on the blockchain.
Right. So that's where so there's like a platform you have to develop it on in a weird way. I mean, I'm the layman, so forgive me for not knowing the details.
Yeah, and I'm not in that world either, but it's actually, to me, it's the whole thing kind of feels like a bit of a scam.
And I mean, that's what I thought. But my thing with that, it's like, it's like when people thought the internet was a scam though, because a part of me, like everybody holds out a little bit, like, are we kind of missing out on like the next big thing?
Yeah.
So that's where you're like, it seems like a scam. I think because it's so directly like related to Dogecoin and Ethereum or whatever the hell it's called. So
it's as much of a scam as like Pokemon cards. It's like they're a thing and you can make money, but what is it? What is it?
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine these people who spent like $2 million on it. I mean, we know people spend more, but like $2 million on an NFT, and then they just it's like worth
the Bored Ape.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, you just watched its value get cut in like
80%
down.
Yeah,
that's insane.
It's insane. It's such a stupid investment. I mean, but it's a flex. You would get it to say, hey, listen, I got so much money. This thing is, I could fucking, take a shit and it's worth a lot. Look at this Bored Ape I put on my Twitter profile.
So what you do on your thing versus an NFT, you're basically just on After Effects or whatever program you're using to create your penises and your
I do a lot of
and
those.
your balloons.
Oh yeah, I have balloons. Yeah, it's
Amir.
it's
He's a two-part artist.
yeah.
He's either rendering penises or balloons. But
Yeah,
what program
penis.
is that? Just so people maybe that are watching.
Oh, I use a huge pipeline for 3D stuff. I use Maxon Suite and Adobe Suite.
Right.
But I'll go everything from After Effects, Photoshop to Cinema 4D, Redshift,
Wow.
ZBrush.
So
I mean, I use a lot.
You're
of
everywhere.
things.
He's
All
got
of it.
iPads. He's always sketching.
I went to the Vegas convention last week.
That's the thing. See, it's like I almost forgot that you're such a big investor for how deep you get in other worlds.
yeah.
Like it's like we're at the bottom of the finance. I'm like, oh, this guy's just a finance guy. And then we pop out and you're talking about you're at a convention for art.
Well, I was at the NAB convention in Vegas. It's the broadcasting live production tools. They had all the latest new post effects and graphic stuff.
Like a big convention hall, and you're just walking around
Massive Las Vegas Convention Hall. It was unbelievable. It was so insane. It made Vegas look boring.
Really?
Yeah.
What'd you see there? Anything new?
I was mostly at the Maxon booth. That's where I was hanging out with these artists. They were unbelievable. And then people I've been following on YouTube forever. I was starstruck to see some of these
Really?
people. And then they were shocked that I was starstruck.
Really?
Yeah, because they're just people.
That's admirable, though.
I mean, we hang around comedy clubs. We see celebrities all the time. I mean, it doesn't do anything for me. I'm never, oh my God, there's Chris Rock. Okay, yeah, he's there. But when I saw this, Ellie Wade from YouTube, I was like, are you fucking, she's here?
You're like, you did that fucking rendering of that horse. Yeah. What technology? I mean, are we seeing art mixed with Chat GBT? Like, what are we talking?
No, I mean, not to get too. Let me know if I'm being too, technical.
They're not even listening to this at this point. This is in the background. I mean, it's interesting. I'd rather talk about,
Well, the
all your things. Have you ever been stressed out and jerked off with art though?
No, not really. I
Just
don't think so.
just money.
Money's fun. Dude, money is fucking exhilarating.
People kill over money.
I mean, people do all kinds of things.
So art is your dessert. Money's the entree. Art's the dessert. Stand-up's just like a fucking cigarette outside for you at this point. Cigarette's just the thing you rip outside. You go, yeah, I don't really fuck with this that much, and then you go back inside and get jacked up.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's exciting, though. I mean, because you're this guy. You think he's a finance guy. One day you think he's a musician. I mean, he is. I don't want to say think, but and then one, out of nowhere we're watching TV somewhere, and you're like, I did the rendering for that commercial, and I'm like, what the fuck did you just say to me? So you do stop motion, or not stop motion, but you just do After Effects stuff
a
like
lot
that?
of compositing, VFX art. Yeah, I do commercials, motion graphics, animations. Now, lately, it's been character
See what
rigging.
you need out here, people? You need to fucking be a jack of all trades. You can't, everybody, if you look at your friends back home, he's like, I do insurance, and then you get this guy's laundry list of whatever the fuck, one day he's doing shit for the Super Bowl ads or a commercial. I mean, did you do one for a Super Bowl commercial?
Yeah, I've done some Super Bowl related stuff.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I mean, it's admirable, but I think, no, are you worried though? Cause sorry for burping into the mic. That's disgusting.
Sorry.
I mean, you introduced me to Chat GBT, and I feel like...
Did I?
Yeah, we were driving to San Diego.
Oh, yeah.
You told me to have it tell me a story or something like that.
Yeah.
But you were excited how it can do better things. And if you guys don't know what ChatGPT is, it's some AI nonsense not nonsense, it's pretty cool, but you were saying how it can help you code and shit like that. I mean, half the stuff you do, can't that eventually do what you're doing?
It's possible. I mean, they're calling it the white collar revolution, right?
Really?
Where it's like, all the programmers, developers, artists, poets, creatives, writers. Those are the people that are potentially threatened by this.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because it's like, it's not like this machine that can pour coffee and it's getting rid of the bottom.
Yeah.
The blue collar workers.
Your barber's fine. The guy doing the radiator.
The graphic designer for the barbers.
Yeah. Now that guy.
That guy's fucked.
We don't really know. I mean, I've embraced it. I'm into it. I actually was curious about that. I asked people from NVIDIA to Adobe to Maxon, all kinds of people when I was at the convention.
Really?
And it's funny because a lot of people, typically when something new comes on the scene, you ask people, what do you think? Is this, is this a big deal, whatever? There's always some veteran who's been around for 30 years who's just like, nah, I've seen this before.
What the fuck did you? Like, with all due respect, what did you see like ChatGPT?
Yeah, well, not this. That's what I'm saying. This is different.
Oh,
now
okay.
with AI, when you ask people are just like, yeah, I don't really know.
Yeah, because it's that good.
It's really good, and it has an incredibly, useful applications.
I'm curious, like I totally agree with you. I'm curious if you ask it the same question. Like, I'm wondering if...
I don't know if this is supposed to be funny, by the way.
I don't give a shit anymore. It is funny to me. Yeah. But, like, if you ask it the same question, like, 90 times, I mean, I feel like it's going to... not same question, but, like, creatively, like, it's like... I wonder if it'd give you that many results, but... Or if it's going to eventually be like, oh, that's an AI thing. You can tell because X, Y, and Z.
I have heard that because in schools, people are using it to write essays and do homework for the kids. There's now a counter AI that can identify whether or not you generated that response through an AI. So there's like AI, like validators or something, whatever they're called. But yeah, there's also creativity sliders. You can go as, wide or far away from the initial prompt.
Right.
Using specific parameters. It's interesting stuff. But
would you ever use AI to talk to a woman?
I would probably use it to text a woman.
That's
I don't
what
like
I'm
to
saying.
text. I'm not a texter.
You have a dating app.
Oh, yeah. I'm working on a dating app. It sounds like we're joking at this point.
I know. Everything we said sounds fake. But your dating app, I mean... if I was single right now, I think and that's what makes me think, I mean, how many with Bumble, Tinder, it's like, I don't want to act like with girls per se. I feel like girls are easier to text guys because no pressure's on the woman, but with like the guys, I mean, have you considered like a response on ChatGPT?
I don't really,
You're not a dating app guy, though.
Not really a dating app
Besides
guy.
your own dating app, where you're the only male.
Yeah, I'm the only guy on the app.
That's what I'm talking about. You find a problem and you solve it. He goes, competition is too much.
Yeah.
I need to fucking get me with a bunch of women and you're the only guy. And every time they swipe, it's just a picture of you.
That's the thing is, I'm not the kind of guy who's going to change me. I'm going to change it. You know what I mean?
It's funny because I know you and I kind of disagree with that. I see the character coming and going and I'm like, we'll let it ride for a little bit.
No, just kidding. No, you're feel free to negate that if you want.
But I think that's what you should do though. You should invent the first dating app with an assistant called a wingman with a ChatGPT filter so they can be like, hey man, you're kind of getting creepy.
Please take it easy.
Let
slow
me
down.
help you.
Yeah. Hey, listen, that was over the line.
You pay for 3 ChatGPT responses, and then you get more.
Yeah,
that's a fucking good idea.
That's a great one. And one of the ideas that I had, I don't even know if I should be, but yeah, it was sort of.
I think we should. There should be a Patreon bar because that was actually a really good idea.
I love that idea. Yeah, I mean, there needs to be some workshopping going on. Some of these guys are typing in whack ass shit that's freaking people out. Like a little side chat, sidebar where guys are like, "Hey, listen, I think that I think what you said was fine, but I think maybe it would have been better if you said, you know what I mean?"
Yeah,
like a little Reddit comment thread going on
inside the because guys in apps are being fucking creeps and shit.
Yeah, there's always that going on, and I don't know.
You gotta fucking play ball, right?
You gotta play ball.
I mean, that's the thing. That's where the robot won't know because a robot would never be like would never logically think it's a good idea to send a picture of your penis.
Yeah.
But sometimes that is what you have to do.
Have you ever?
Yeah. I'll send one to Mandy right now.
Oh, right now.
I'll send yours to her right now. My girlfriend's in the other room probably listening to all this. That's why we're getting pretty quiet in the edgy parts. But
keep it down.
Damn, so no dating apps. So romantic.
I have them. I have the apps.
But if I know anything
I just don't really use them.
Yeah, I mean, because I think as a guy like you, and I thought about it today when I was thinking of things to talk about, I ran the numbers. You like women that are further.
What do you mean?
With her distance, emotionally, mentally. You don't want
further progress,
like mentally crazy, like further. You like the distant woman, so they can give a gap, and I think you like the chase for money and I don't know. The other ones don't really compare, but I mean, I'm not going to name names, but we can run through the class. But I mean, you kind of like the chase, so that's why I feel like the app wouldn't really fare well if your radius would be too far. Because you get one girl is an accomplished singer, but not really. One's from a far off land. The other one has like a child. We can get these out. Don't worry. But I mean, okay, to start over. We know I just think, romantically speaking, that the app wouldn't make sense if you're a guy, you're like a traveler. I mean, that doesn't really fare well.
Well, I have a history of dating foreigners.
Yeah, I mean, you are not really a foreigner, but
I'm not a foreigner.
Where do you meet these? That's the thing. Every time I talk to you, you're meeting somebody in this weird situation.
Yeah. I know.
You're like at a music. I see your story on Instagram. This kid's at a music festival around a bonfire, and he's like, "I met this amazing woman. I'm going to visit her in 3 weeks." And it all sounds again fake. I think this podcast,
the running theme,
it sounds so fake.
Yeah.
Like, for all they know, we could be lying this whole time.
Yeah. I mean, I think, that's true. I mean, I sound like a fraud, but
you're not, though.
It is what it is,
You're it's just you live an extraordinary life.
But you know what's crazy is you would never think that just by looking at me. You know what people think when they see me?
That's the thing, though.
They see probably a nice looking nerd. He seems like a nice guy.
You're just I don't even want to say timid. I don't want to use an insulting adjective, but you are. You're just like you're politely there.
Yeah.
You're not out of the way, but you're but
I'm not the guy trying to make a splash in a room. You know what I mean?
You get in the room and then you fuck with the wiring. So there's you're like a mouse. You get in the floorboards and start chewing.
Yeah.
So then a big thing happens because of your brain.
Maybe. Yeah.
I'm outside looking in. I mean, it's good though. It's good to be the quiet party. I mean, you told me stories of you in high school where, and I mean, his stories from high school, they don't even sound believable because I know him, but now that I spend more time with you, I can see why they make sense of, like, I mean, you used to have this heathenistic party life of, in Malibu and Atlanta, just party. I mean, you would never guess that.
Yeah, there's a lot of discrepancies between the way I look and who I actually am.
But that's, I mean, everybody, I think it's safe to say people watching and listening, I mean, they should take that not as a grain of salt and be like, the people you're talking to, you never know who the hell you're talking to.
That's true.
And that could be good and bad. I mean, you're the good outcome.
Right.
Where they're like, yeah, I met this guy that I work with and he's quiet, but he took me to this underground rave and then had me invest. But you're I'd rather
talked about Dogecoin down there,
dude. I mean, we've had some bizarre conversations at
yeah
Jam in the Van.
Right.
But I think I'd rather be that guy than. But do you ever get pushback when people think they don't? Have you ever had like people think like, that's not you, that's not true?
Oh yeah. I mean, I remember when God, I don't even know if I should say this. Whatever, I'll say it.
We'll blurb and bleep and shit.
I used to live next to Tony Hinchcliffe. Yeah.
You're not there anymore?
No, I am. But
okay.
He's not there. He moved to Austin.
That's right. Okay.
And
Tony Hinchcliffe has Kill Tony. It's a big comedy podcast.
Yeah. And I remember like during the pandemic, we were at home so much, and I would see him all the time, and I was kind of having a lot of fun during the pandemic. I was seeing a lot of girls, and
yeah, you were.
And I was having a lot of fun. One time I told Tony about multiple people in my life, girls that would come and go and who I was seeing and whatnot. Basically sounded like I was living a debaucherous life, just like a player. And he goes, no one believes you, right?
That's so funny. I mean, that's true.
Yeah.
That's a good way. He just literally cut through all the shit and goes, no one that doesn't mean he doesn't believe you, but at least he's being like, just so you know,
no one believes you.
Meaning like, I mean, he could have meant like, you probably shouldn't say this out loud because half the people you tell are going to think you're crazy.
Yeah.
But that's exciting. I mean, that's like the crazy person you see that you're like, that guy's full of shit. And then you see him doing the cool thing. You're like, holy crap, he was telling the truth the whole time.
Wow. So the theme of this is I sound like a liar, but I'll prove it to you.
You're not. Yeah. And I think that's a good thing. I'd rather do that than the inverse of that.
Yeah.
I seem like a fucking cool guy,
Yeah.
and then I'm lying.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to lie, which is good. But
That's good.
It's crazy though, because I mean, the crazy stuff. I mean, when you tell me all those stories, I think how, and I'm curious. Like, I've never met your mom.
Yeah.
But you told me your dad is like a wild guy. And I don't, you can go in as much as you want, but I mean,
Yeah.
I can see from your stories of him where you get it from.
Well, yeah, I don't talk about my dad publicly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We don't have to. I mean,
Yeah,
I mean, I think it was more for just trying to paint the picture of who was Amir Kabiri.
Yeah. No, but he was I mean, he's still, I just haven't seen him since I was like, young, but he's the most interesting guy that I have ever met in my life. I don't even really know him though. I mean, I know him, but I don't know. I mean, there's a lot that you don't know, especially when you're not physically around somebody, but yeah, that guy.
Yeah, I think from the stories you tell, I'm like, I think I know where he got that from.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, I don't know him either, but I mean, because your mom, she seems like a reserved.
She's a super, super, just incredibly, amazing woman. Sacrificed everything for her children. Ball buster though. She'll bust your balls, and she'll put you in check. But she'll also do everything for you.
Interesting. I don't think you're not a ball, but you don't bust balls though.
Not really, and she doesn't do it like out of her way, but she'll check you constantly. She'll be like, hey.
It's every mom.
Just why don't you take it easy.
Your mom doesn't care. I mean, she's probably happy that you do all that. Like, so, I mean, with all your careers, let's kind of step back because it made me think, like, my mom pushes back on me doing comedy and shit.
Really?
Yeah, a little bit.
Even now?
She doesn't really
No
give a shit.
way.
She doesn't care about it.
Well, you're doing great.
That's fine. Amir, you think your life's a lie? It's all fake. No, I'm just kidding. What do you want to do, like, moving forward? I mean, I think the answer is pretty self-explanatory. Like, what's the end game for Amir career-wise?
Oh, that's it. I mean, I don't really have an answer to that. I just want to keep being, hungry for random shit and curious, and I like doing that. Obviously, we do stand-up. I still do stand-up a lot. I just don't do it like the way I used to.
We talked about that. The shows are far and few.
Yeah, there are less shows.
And it's like, at some point, I mean, granted, open mics in the comedy world are, a thing. I'm sure self-explanatory, but you don't want to do those as much. But then you're between a rock and a hard place.
Exactly.
Where like, am I even doing this? I mean, literally last week I was like, I don't even feel like a comic anymore because And then me and Mandy will go do like an open mic just to feel it's like a defibrillator. You got to just get a pulse where I'm like, I feel like I'm still involved.
Yeah, I'll do this, which is not like me. I mean, it didn't used to be like me, but I just sort of do shows based on whether or not I want to as an individual, where I'm not really in a position comedically to be like, no, I'm not doing your show, but I will do that.
I rarely.
I walked out of a show last weekend.
Really?
Yeah.
Where was this?
It was bad.
That's really hard to imagine.
Well, it was a 420 show.
Oh, okay.
And I don't smoke weed.
Yeah, I mean,
I stopped smoking weed a long time ago, so I don't even like being around it. But when I walked into this small room, it was like, bunch of people smoking weed.
Where was this at?
It was in one of those like small room. It's like the place on Beverly. They have a little
a dispensary.
No. It was like a comedy venue.
Oh, like a
one of those like black box.
Yeah, I don't want to name any of them because they're that shitty. But
they do shows on the weekends and whatnot. Yeah, and sometimes they have good lineups. But
right.
And so I walk in. There's a bunch of weed, and I just walk right out. I go, sorry, I'm not doing it.
That's a mature move, and I think that means
I'm 34.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that doesn't mean you don't like stand-up. I mean, at some point we have to be like, I've been here before, and I don't. I think there was a show I didn't do something like that where you're like, dude, this isn't gonna make me better.
No,
and it's not about like this like gauntlet of comedy. Right?
And I will say this: you could even argue for me that I really don't like drugs, but I don't like drugs more than I like comedy, I think.
Right.
Which is not good for my career, but at the same time, I have a strong point of view on drugs.
See, that's in hindsight, I would want to see the Amir go in there and reprimand them.
Yeah, I would have if I had stayed long enough to do my set.
Yeah,
but, you know.
I did one of those shows and I got me and Mandy drove to Palm Springs and it was so hot boxed.
Yeah.
I was on stage and I literally forgot halfway through my set. I forgot jokes.
Really?
I was high on stage.
Oh my God.
And it was just stoners in the crowd. And literally before I went on stage, the kid running it, he was wearing a purse with like $500, I mean, no, probably like $1,000 in cash in his like little man purse.
Yeah.
And he was walking around and he passed out little snack sized bags of Cheetos. So my whole set, I just heard crinkling.
Oh God.
And I was just like, I feel like I'm doing a show for rats.
Dizzy.
Just going. I go, you guys are so high. I go, you guys are so high. You're gonna smoke the Cheeto and eat the blunt.
Oh God.
But anyways, that was the last time I'll ever.
You know, with you, it's puzzling because you mentioned this not too long ago that you still get nervous.
Oh, every show.
It's insane to me.
I mean, it's just a thing.
You're so experienced and you do great. I don't understand how you even have. See, now for me, I'm the opposite.
Every show I do,
my shows are hit or miss, but I haven't felt nervous.
Really? Yeah, but because you're fucking losing $100,000 at 5 a.m.
I mentioned this to Mandy on her podcast, but my heart rate is 48 still. And
like,
so
like resting?
Resting heart rate is 48.
See, mine's not. Mine's like...
What are you at?
My therapist once diagnosed me as emotionally sensitive.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Which I was insulted by.
Yeah.
She goes, you're emotionally sensitive. And my heart, like... I mean, I don't say I'm like healthy, but like I get worked up easier.
Yeah.
So like before a show, dude, I can do a show for 10 people.
You got to punch the wall workout.
Or 200 and I feel the same.
No way.
Like I'll get, if anything, I'll get less nervous for more people because it's kind of just like, all right, whatever.
It feels like more of a performance. Yeah, I mean, it's so fascinating to me because I haven't felt nervous in so long. And when I get called, I mean, they could literally be like, and coming to the stage is Amir Kabiri. And I'm like, I got to get up.
See, I don't have that. I have. But
and you do so much more than I do.
Everything I do, I get nervous, though.
Really?
I mean, even in baseball, I remember, like in hindsight, I'm like, you fucking unbelievable. Like, I was pitching in college. It was like my freshman year, and my pitching coach came to the mound. So I was throwing I walked a few guys and I was just like, I'm nervous. And I was just like, why did you say that to a grown man?
I'm nervous.
That's just like a thing. And I've like,
do you get affected by coffee?
I love coffee though. I'll drink coffee before I get on stage. If anything, coffee for me, it gives me energy, but there's more of a confidence effect to it and like kind of a clarity thing that like makes me feel better versus like, I don't get jittery unless I'm like hungover or something like that. But like but that's why I can't do like anything out of my control or like that's why I can't do like pills or anything like that. That would fuck me up.
Really?
Yeah, but
if I was doing drugs, and I sometimes take pills, but I love pills. Those are good.
That's what I'm saying. Like you're
not like, recklessly, but the doctor will give me some pills. I'll be like, fucking take some pills.
List all the drugs you've done.
Oh, I mean, when I was a kid, I was like
from birth to now.
See, I did most of my drugs when I was in high school, and I was like 13, 12 to 14. I was like doing I was smoking weed regularly, mushrooms. One time I smoked opium at like 14.
That's the most oriental drug.
That's like an ancient Chinese
That's what I'm
drug.
saying. They were doing that in like dens.
Yeah.
Like an opium den.
Yeah. We did it in my bathroom.
That's, it was the den of his house.
Yeah.
It was a
but I mean, back then also, you got to remember, that was like early 2000s. It wasn't like, there weren't weed stores in Atlanta, Georgia.
That's true.
We had a dealer. You had to go get it. And the weed was like shit.
It was back then. I used to smoke weed back then because it was more weak. It wasn't as strong.
That's what they say.
In college, I would, in Boston, I would smoke weed with my roommates and I was fine. And then I went to Hawaii one summer for baseball, and I smoked weed there, and it was so strong, it gave me my first panic attack.
Really?
Granted, it was coupled with drinking, but I remember smoking. I went out and drank that night, woke up the next day, and I remember having a panic attack, and I was like, what the fuck was that? And then ever since that day, I tried smoking, and it just finds my anxiety in my brain and just punches it in the face. And then Because it used to be funny. It used to be like this relaxing thing. I would smoke weed. I'd go like draw or what. I mean, I went to school for architecture, so I'd go draw or do some.
You're good. You're a good artist.
I did that. Did that guy in the corner. Yeah, we'll talk.
That looks great. I gotta pee.
But anyways, yeah.
Can I pee real quick?
I think we're almost done. I mean,
Okay.
let's be honest. Let's wrap this up.
All right.
It's 57 minutes. I think this is to be continued for lack of a better term. I mean, Amir's going to be on here every now and then. So I think they got a good grip. I mean, you're a man of mystery. I mean, the way you sit is interesting. It doesn't even look that comfortable, but you've been doing it the whole time. And
my IT band is a little tight.
Yeah, I mean, your LinkedIn is stacked. I do have my IT band on my right leg.
Yeah, me too.
It's tight.
Now, do you do the hamstring where you put the thing and you raise it up?
No, I kind of do that weird one where you like lean over and it doesn't even work. But so I mean, shit. Financially, artistically.
Hold on, I want to know this though. Is there any other research you did that we didn't cover?
Yeah, I actually printed some stuff out.
'Cause that's what I wanted to know.
I mean, I was going to go into
Sex club
some
stuff?
it's just one thing I wanted to talk about with you working. He worked for Snapchat for a little bit.
Yeah.
And it was going to kind of just bleed in with the tech stuff. And then also I had a question how you asked a coworker on a date and that process of making it not professional.
Which one?
Just, didn't you ask a coworker out? But you were like a contract worker. Didn't you get contracted by one company?
It's happened more than once. But
That's what I'm saying. My question was like, how did you transition from like this is a work relationship to do you want to get a drink? But that's
Yeah.
if you want to do a speed round and answer that in one sentence, we can knock that out. And then I also printed this out of my work computer. It was Voyage LA. I thought you'd get a kick out of that.
Oh God!
If you guys want to know his song, it's called Love Letter. That was the song we talked about earlier.
That's a weird photo, isn't it?
I did a Voyage LA. It's kind of bizarre. They just send you questions, you fill them out.
It's so weird. People brag about it like it's some sort of major interview.
Yeah, it's really not at all. I got kind of duped into doing it. Anyways, I think this question I thought was pretty funny. It sums up your life. Has luck played a meaningful role in your life and business? And I was like, I think that's a huge. You just wrote yes.
What did I say?
You kind of beat around the bush quite a bit. I mean,
yeah. It pisses me off when people think you owe it to your college alma mater or like something. You know what? I fucking worked my ass off.
Yeah, you figured it out.
Yeah. You know what? Fuck you. Whenever they call me from USC, I went to USC. Whenever they call me for money, you know what I do?
What do you do?
I make them question whether or not they made the right decision by going there.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so you stay on the phone and make them.
Oh, I'm like, listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to give you any money. I'm going to tell you right now. But here's what I will do. I'll answer any questions you got. I'm going to be honest with you. Nobody else will. Dude. I don't even know you. I don't owe you anything. And I got nothing that I'm trying to push on you. But if you got a question, because I went there, I'll tell you right now. And then immediately they're like, okay, well, they get into it. And I tell them that basically they're drinking the Kool-Aid by being there. They're drinking the sauce. And by the end, they're like, oh my God, no one's ever been so upfront about stuff. And I'm like, yeah, if you ever need me, just give me a call.
How long are these conversations?
Usually I'll talk to people for 20 minutes.
Really?
And it happens like once a year.
Well, they're bored. I mean, they'd rather spend more time with you.
Yeah.
The psychopaths. Asking them questions why you shouldn't donate.
They want $10 and I won't give it to them. Because they have enough money. But what they don't know is that they're being fed a bunch of bullshit.
Well, they're also berating people. They think they're going to find the millionaire donor to buy them a new wing of a building versus you where you're like, give me a fucking break.
Yeah, you got enough. You have more money than any organization in the city.
Yeah.
You're a private organization with more money than, the airport. I don't know. But I feel like people are like, you know what? I couldn't have done it without... I just remembered something funny. I couldn't have done it without my college, without my degree, the network. It's like,
no,
not me. Fuck that.
I mean, that could be a bad thing too. You're like, yeah, I couldn't have done it without you because I realized what sucks. Like my grad school, I'm like, I learned a lot what not to do there. I mean, when people you're a cooker as well. You like cooking as well as I do. I'm like, when you make a good dinner, nobody's like, you better thank Ralph's for that.
Yeah.
You're like, no, I took my...
Yeah, I did it.
Fucking knowledge, and I made that shit.
Right. You can take credit for that.
Yeah. Do you want to plug anything? I don't know if you have any fun things coming up.
When does this come out?
I don't even know.
It may not come out.
Probably next week. Before he plugs anything, plugs anything, Follow him. I'll put his socials on everything. I'll tag him and stuff. Check out his music, all his art. Plug whatever you want. The floor is yours. While I spill shit.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing. I don't care if you just see any of it, but doing a show on Friday at the Improv.
Lenoci show.
Yeah, Friday.
Nice.
And then something in Culver City. I don't know. I'll put it on my Instagram if you decide to check it out. But
if not,
don't do whatever you want to do.
Feel free to call him and ask for donations so you can hear the rant of. As far as a comedic podcast, I don't know if that was funny, but I feel like I listen to podcasts that are more interesting, and I think that was we struck the interesting. I mean, I don't expect everything to be funny, and also, I don't know about you, I don't like to be funny all the time. I think sometimes it's more fun, and finding humor in the moments is more fun for me. Of
course, me too. And I think when you're trying to be funny constantly, it's actually annoying.
It's kind of cringy.
Yeah.
That's why when people find out I do stand-up, they go, really? I'm like, because I'm not like the class clown type.
Right.
I don't want to be loud. I mean, yeah, we find humor in, chat GBT rants, but that's funnier than trying to be annoying this whole episode.
Right. I mean, you can, yeah, exactly.
But how this is ending is two men in their mid-30s that have to piss really bad, and I spilled water or Celsius heat on myself. So
pee so bad.
Thanks for doing the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. All right.
Cool.
Yeah. Bye.